from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
And welcome to the show. We're headed to the place of my birth, where it all began, where a legend was born.
Okay, we're not doing a show about you.
No, we're not. We're actually doing a show about Will Rogers and the film festival that's going on up in Claremore from October 30th to November 4th. I'm Brett.
And I'm Harley.
Fun fact about me, something you may or may not know. I was born in Claremore, Oklahoma, at the Claremore Indian Hospital, the old one. The one that may or may not have looked like the one from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
So what you're saying is that you were born in a hospital and they immediately shut down after you were born.
Yeah, they whisked me away, and it was pretty primitive back in those days. I guess that you had to go to the bathroom outside, like an outhouse situation. I mean, we've come a long way, Claremore. We've come a long way.
Claremore definitely has. I don't know that you can get included in that statement.
No, I will not have a museum named after me in Claremore.
You never know.
Hey.
I mean, they could accidentally, mistakenly name it after you.
Can I get a corridor? Can you give me a corridor in Claremore? A corridor in Claremore. Give me Brett Manzer corridor in Claremore.
How about just like a patch of sod? Like this ditch dedicated to Brett Manzer, podcaster.
Well, not only is it a film festival, it is Will Rogers' birthday coming up, and we're going to talk about that
right after this.
All right, 6 goes into 7. 1 is... God, I'm so frustrated. I'm scared to death. I'm an independent contractor, and I don't want to get punched in the jimmy by the IRS.
Brett, why don't you give our buddy Justin over at the Holiday Tax Group a call? One of their specialties is tax preparation and planning. And then on top of that, if you have a run-in with the IRS, they're going to have your back.
Perfect. But how do I find them?
You can reach them at holidaytaxgroup.com. And if the independent contractor thing works out for you, they also do estate planning. So they got you back on that one as well.
Oh, thank goodness. Thanks for the advice. That's holidaytaxgroup.com. Holiday with 2 L's.
All right, Brett, this is big. This is, I think, the biggest thing we've done. We have failed as podcasters.
It won't be the first time, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's Will Rogers.
Right. We've flown out of Will Rogers Airport multiple times and never probably even thought about what we were doing or who is Will Rogers.
So after doing some cursory research on Will, don't get me wrong, I knew a lot about Will Rogers before. But after just a cursory examination of the history of Will Rogers, I realized that I know absolutely nothing about Will Rogers.
Well, I was thinking, I think if you've lived here any length of time, and I think they've stolen it and borrowed it and taken it to other states, but the old, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, I've never met a man I didn't like.
Right, those are Will Rogers-isms.
Right, those are his quips and quotes and things, but in terms of who is this guy? I learned a lot within a 30-minute span doing research.
Right. One of the things that I find super interesting, Will Rogers was a cowboy in a lot of movies.
And a real cowboy in real life. I mean,
But he was actually a Native American.
Yes.
One of his sayings was, "My ancestors didn't come over on the Mayflower, but they met the boat." I love that. He was super proud of his Native American heritage, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
He got started in kind of vaudeville-ish scenarios, rope tricks and stuff like that.
Right.
But over the years, he added on speeches, jokes, humor.
Right.
I kind of feel like the guy was the first stand-up comedian.
Yes, and, he kind of got his name roasting prominent state officials. Gangsters, prohibitionists, and they were in on the gag. They
laughed at it because
he
made it funny to them.
Right. He was, I would almost say, the first roast master general.
I like it.
But he also was a writer. He was an accomplished writer. He wrote over 7,000 articles for the local newspapers.
So I guess what we're saying is there are probably going to be a few shows, at least a few shows, that go pretty deep into the background of Will Rogers.
Yeah, Will Rogers has some deep cuts, but he's done a lot for Oklahoma and for entertainment and for the Native Americans.
I really feel like we're going to need some expert assistance to dig deeper into the background of Will Rogers, which we've already kind of got some assistance on the way.
Right.
So we actually, we're trying to set up an interview with Tad Jones. He's the executive director of the Will Rogers Museum. He agreed to come on the show. We just couldn't make it happen in time for a show to drop that would actually help the attendance at the film festival. Yeah, we could make it happen this go around, but we do have him scheduled to come on a future episode for a future event.
Absolutely.
So I'm super excited about that. We're kind of here to celebrate 140 years of Will Rogers. It's his birthday coming up on November 4th.
Yes, 140 years of having just a sterling reputation in a really nice airport. Will, I think you'd be impressed with some of the upgrades that they've done over.
He'd probably be really impressed with the TSA.
Yeah,
not likely.
Not likely.
But more importantly, we've got the Will Rogers Motion Picture Festival and Birthday Bash coming up October 30th through November 4th. That's a long event.
It's a long event, but the whole town is in on it. Like, they're doing...
We're going to get to that.
Yes.
You're jumping the gun.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're jumping. But Claremore's awesome.
Yeah.
Will Rogers was the biggest movie star in 1934.
Yes, he was.
But Claremore was home to Will Rogers and to Lynn Riggs, who wrote the play Oklahoma.
You may or may not have heard of it, and you may be basing your opinion on Oklahoma on that very play because of Hugh Jackman.
So this film festival, though, Brett, it looks pretty damn cool. They've got 22 different categories. The actual name of the awards, Dog Iron Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about the background of the Dog Irons Awards?
Well, yeah, the Dog Iron Award itself is named after the ranch that Will Rogers was born on in the Cherokee Nation. So it's pretty cool. Top to bottom, this whole thing's about Will Rogers.
Jennifer Rogers Echeverry. She's the great-granddaughter of Will Rogers. And then there are a few other notable co-hosts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's Ariel Tweedo. If you're familiar with the Flying Wild Alaska docuseries that came out a few years ago, she's going to be doing a lecture and co-hosting the awards as well. Also, you may be familiar with this next guy, Barry Corbin.
Barry Corbin is one of the coolest guys ever. He's like the quintessential cowboy.
He really is, and he's on that show you like to watch, The Ranch. He's been on No Country for Old Men, War Games. I mean...
Dude, he was in one of the Critters movies.
Yes, Critters 2, to be exact. He's going to be giving a lecture as well, and also stuntman Terrence Julian's going to be there doing some lecturing.
So some of the categories, though, for the film festival, I'm actually really impressed by this. There are several categories that include Made in Oklahoma films, so Made in Oklahoma shorts and features. You've got Best Comedy Shorts, that sort of thing. But there are also children's categories.
Yes.
Best Children's Short 15 to 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Best Children's Short for 14 and under. I would love to see some of those films.
That would be cool, yeah.
But I think it goes back to Will Rogers and Will Rogers' heritage. The First Nation Indigenous shorts
mm-hmm.
and Indian First Nation Indigenous features. I think this is cool. I think it's important to get these groups involved in awards like this.
Right, and I think it's culturally appropriate. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. There's a lot of great filmmakers out there that don't get the plug that they need, and each winner is going to receive an opportunity. And I think one of the coolest things for me is that each winner is going to get a chance to air their motion picture on RSU TV. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that's the Rogers State University television station, which is pretty cool. They do they're big into media. A lot of radio people have come out of there. And, Will Rogers himself was a big radio guy. So,
again, more Will Rogers shows to come. So the tickets for this event, they range from $100
mm-hmm.
for a full 5-day all-access pass.
Yeah.
All the way down to $10 to have breakfast with Barry Corbin. Or lunch, I think, actually.
Yeah,
lunch.
and that's $10 is all inclusive. I was looking at it going, surely not for $10. I've got to end up spending another $100 just to sit next to the guy. But no, but $10, I think that's worth the price of admission right there.
But I think more importantly, with Claremore,
mm-hmm.
You said it before, there's more in Claremore. This town is awesome. They are literally all throughout the town. They're going to be playing Will Rogers movies. Pretty much anywhere you can see a movie, they'll be playing a Will Rogers movie.
More than you can shake a stick at. I don't know if you ever said that, but it's something you might say.
Maybe. It's possible. It may have been his anyway, and somebody just stole it. as we were researching Claremore, we were like, how is this place so cool and us not, like, hanging out here on a regular basis?
Because maybe we're working on our cool points.
Yeah, I don't think we could. So there's a place called the Haberdashery in Claremore. You and I were looking at pictures. I promise you we're not getting in the door. We're not wearing enough leather.
We're not dapper enough.
Yeah, our beards are not on point enough.
Yeah, our beards don't smell like forestry. I think you have to smell like you can swing an axe and drink a cognac.
Yeah, but I mean the place looks amazing. They've got like a barber. They sell like cool clothes,
knives,
not like handmade knives, beard oil. The place looked amazing.
Yeah, it's like if you need a testosterone shot, the Haberdashery in Claremore's got you covered.
No, I think you probably need
you need one to go there.
Yeah, you need a testosterone shot to get in the door.
You don't think your level increases just exponentially?
Yeah, I think if you walk close to the building, you probably get an increase in your testosterone levels. But I think to actually get in the door, you probably have to pass a test. You know, like you've got to be able to, I don't know, knock a bird out of a tree with an axe at 100 yards or something.
Use a butterfly knife on command.
Another cool place in town, though, the Main Street Tavern.
That's a hell of a watering hole, bud.
It looks amazing.
Yes.
Like,
every beer you can think of.
Everything's made out of leather and real wood.
But here's the thing I thought was funny. I was looking at the wall of beer taps, or as we were talking about it, doing research, and you said spigots, but that's okay. That's why we can't go. We've got to work. We've got a lot of work to do. But in our research, learning to be more cool, there was a Bud Light tap right in the middle, the sea of all these really cool beers. Do you want to be the guy
that orders a Bud Light at that place?
Like you're almost like looking to see if anybody's watching. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that beer can't come up fast enough. Just a really cool ambiance.
But the whole town, I'm serious. The whole town looks super cool. You've got like park benches with bronze statues of Will Rogers reading the paper.
Well, you got to, I think. You got to.
It looks like a really fun town, and they really take pride in what they've got going on there. I definitely think there's more going on in Claremore.
I gotta get out of Oklahoma City. OKC, you're trying too hard, baby. I gotta get up northeast.
So, guys, obviously we missed the boat on the Claremore, Oklahoma being one of the coolest places on the planet.
Well, I was born there.
Right, but you don't live there, and that's one of the reasons that it's one of the coolest places on the planet.
So
but what else are we missing? We need to know. We need to know these little hidden gems throughout the state. Let us know on any social media. It's OnlyinOKShow, or email us OnlyinOKShow@gmail.com. This has been the OnlyinOKShow.com. I'm Harley.
And I'm Brett.
Will Rogers was once quoted as saying, "The show's over. Go home."
That's the Will Rogers film. No. That's the Will Rogers Moch.
If you have to... but this festival highlights the independent film submission... But this film festival... I can't say festival?